morning, students. And today we are going to discuss about the water resource and the last topic of chapter 2 in geography. So, in the earlier classes, we have discussed about land as a resource, soil as a resource, and now, as a third part in this chapter, we will be discussing about water as a resource. You all know that water is a natural resource, it's available everywhere on the earth. And at the same time, I would like to say is that yet water is a natural resource and a renewable resource nowadays because of growth of urbanization, population, and industrialization. Now, water is a scarce resource. You all know the water is very much important for the life to exist. Let be the plants, animals, or the human beings. Water is one such most important resource, and without which we could not exist. Because we need water to drink when we are thirsty. Because the plant need water for their what? Photosynthesis. And animals need water. So without water, the life cannot exist in the earth. Any plants or animals could not exist. Can I clear, my dear students? We use water for everything. We use water for drinking, the cooking, the cleaning, washing, irrigation purposes, transportation, manufacturing industry, and we use water for everything. And even we use water for this generation of electricity that we call it as hydroelectricity. And think now you think how critical the water is, how the water is very much important in this planet. Though we have water, 97% of water in this earth is saline water. Only 3% of water can be consumed. The fresh water. Among the fresh water, there are groundwater levels, surface water levels. So overall, among 100% of water resources that we have, 97% of that water is saline water. Only 3% of water we can use it for our consumption. We can use it. In such a case, when we speak about the distribution of water, this water is not evenly distributed all around the earth. They are unevenly distributed, and there is a natural imbalance in the availability of water and distribution of water in different parts of the world. For example, in desert regions, you could not see the water, the low rainfall. In some tropical regions, you could get see the amount of water is a little bit higher because of the rainfall, because of the infiltration, and because of the groundwater recharge. You can get water. But nowadays, even in tropical regions, because of this urbanization, industrialization, and growth of population in geometric proportion, and the water is again a scarce resource. So this growth in population and this growth in industrialization and activities of the human being and use of water in everything has led to an increase in the demand of water. So because of an increasing demand of water, there have been exploitation of water, that is excessive pumping of water. So excessive pumping of water from the ground level has lowered the water table in many regions of the world and have caused scarcity of water. And this is one of the major problems in this century. I think you would have heard about the Brazil and South Africa, how they struggled for water and how they fought for water now, before 2 to 3 months in South Africa. So this water is becoming a scarce resource because of the, even though we have 97% of water, we cannot convert it into the pure water. Yes, of course, there are many generations of converting the salt water into pure water, but they are cost effective. They have to be maintained very well. They are cost effective. So because of that reason, these 97% of water could not be converted very easily. So think, my dear students, we have only 3% of water that can be used. And if we use those water in an unjudicious manner, and obviously it will lead to the scarcity of water. What are the main reasons for that? The main reasons for the scarcity of water is nothing but the growth in population, urbanization and industrialization, and the demand of water in every level had led to the scarcity of water. Though the water is only 3% that is available for consumption. And again, the major problem in that is water pollution. The undesirable and unwanted changes in water is known as water pollution, a simple statement. Undesirable and unwanted change in water is known as water pollution. The growth of industrialization and the growth of urbanization is causing a very great damage and the depletion of water in the river courses. Industrial waste are being discharged in the rivers and sea. Chemical fertilizers used in agriculture and the pesticides and untreated sewage, and everything is being dumped into the rivers. For example, take an example of Ganga Clean Project, Ganga Yamuna, which flows towards Uttar Pradesh and New Delhi. Yamuna in New Delhi and Ganga in Uttar Pradesh. Now, government is trying to clean the Ganga, clean Ganga project. The reason is because of the growth of industrialization in those areas. Food processing industries, agro-based industries, and chemical industries in those areas are dumping their waste, I mean industrial waste into the river, and because of that, we think and we consider that the Ganga is the holy river and sacred river, but even that river is totally unfit for human consumption because of this water pollution, discharge of waste, discharge of fertilizers, discharge of pesticides, and discharge of toxic chemicals and untreated sewage materials. And because of these, those rivers are getting contaminated, and the depletion of water, and finally it is unfit for human consumption. The reason why we are studying of water is that water is also a natural resource. It is a duty of a human being to protect the nature. I mean, the water is a natural resource which is gifted, and we should protect the water also. We should conserve the water, as if that we have studied in land resources, the ways to conserve the land, and in soil resources, we have studied how to conserve the soil. Because this land and soil and water, we directly or indirectly, we always have a correlation with these things in them to have a sustainability of existence of an environment. So let's discuss what is about the conversation about conservation of water, how to conserve the waters. The main idea behind this is that the first and foremost that I could say, and everyone, there is also a project all around the world in India, in Tamil Nadu, you all know that it is rainwater harvesting, which is made mandatory in every schools, in industrial buildings, and in big apartments. The government law states that the construction of rainwater harvesting is mandatory. How many of you know what is rainwater harvesting? The collection, I mean the collecting and storing of rainwater for reuse is known as rainwater harvesting. You all see we have pipes in your houses, and those waters which falls on the roofs of the house are collected through that pipe, and the pipe is directly drained into the underground where a sink is made. I mean a rainwater tank is made, and the waters are left there, and it is stored in those tanks. And in few places, the tanks are not built. The rainwater is just left inside the earth. It discharges the groundwater level. It discharges the groundwater level. In few places where the house, where the rainwater tank is made, we store those waters. The reason behind that is that we collect the water instead of allowing it to run off. Instead of allowing the water to run off in the drains and wasting it, we collect those waters and we make use of it. If you collect 500 liters of water from the rain during the rainy season, you think, my dear students, you will not be in a position to use the groundwater level. If everyone is making use of such a rainwater in a systematic and effective manner, and for 1 month, I am sure that for 2 to 3 days or a week, we will not be in a position to switch on the motor and pump out the water from the underground level. We can use those rainwaters. So when we use those rainwaters for a particular period of time, it allows the groundwater to discharge the water level. The water level can increase. And because of this, the groundwater level can increase. So this rainwater harvesting is one such method to conserve the water. And the second thing that I could say is that drip irrigation. So in every fields, in agricultural field, you could see this, there is a canal which is constructed and water is left around and it drains in those canals. 90% of the water is wasting, is getting wasted. So instead of irrigating the crops by flooding the field with water, we could better use this sprinklers or the drip irrigation so that they can save plenty of waters. Instead of flooding the water everywhere into the field in every sides, nooks and corners of the agricultural field, it consumes the high amount of water. So instead of that, you can directly use a pipe and use the sprinkler or a drip irrigation method so that we can conserve the water in the agricultural field, and we can let water the how much what needed for that particular plant. And there are many other ways to conserve the water also. And what I could say is that if we could build a small barrier, counter barrier in our river channel, so that the water which is drained off from the other regions and which is flowing into the river, the drains of water which drains into the river, the water can be collected by building a small counter barriers. So that if the counter barrier is built for 1 meter in a river channel, if the water that drains into the river will fill it up till the 1 meter, and then the excess water will flow off. So this can be one of the method, building not a dam, building a counter barrier in the river channel or in the small streams along our houses. So this can be very effective in if the water is collected at particular places. It can be very effective in discharging the groundwater level. And you should always make sure that your water stops leakages. In the houses, I could see, in the schools, I could see when we go for a hand wash, I could see the tabs always drains water drop by drop. There is a problem. Little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. If that particular tab is being drained by without stopping its leakage, if it is draining by drop, drop, drop for all throughout the day, I assume, my dear students, just visualize how much liters of water could be wasted. So you should make sure that all your appliances, I mean plumbing appliances, should stop the leakages. We should stop the leakages, and we should change our habits in using the water. So there are, I could see many students in many places, in many villages and towns, I could see that they just throw out the water, they waste the water in a high amount. So this water is, again, I'm telling students, this water is a natural renewable resource. I'm sure, yes, true, but because of the usage and because of the demand and growth of urbanization, industrialization, and population, this water is becoming a scarce resource. Even there might be the world war for this water also. Yes, absolutely, there might be, because the situation is like that. The groundwater level is being entirely depleted, and the government must regulate excessive withdrawal of groundwater with the powerful submersible pumps. There are in this you see in many houses the pumps that are submerged into the land are very effective. 1 HP, 2 HP pumps, 3 HP pumps. Now the higher the HP, the higher amount of water is being brought to the earth. From under the earth, it is brought to the tanks. So this government must regulate that only this amount of powerful submersible pumps must be used. So these are the measures that can be taken to conserve the water. And the next and the foremost thing that I would say is that although the government is making strict regulations, although the government is bringing in many policies, it is up to our wish, it is up to us, not our wish, it is up to us. We the humans, we must be conscious about the natural resources, and we should always work hard, strive hard to protect others, because it is one of the fundamental duties. As Indian constitution says, it is one of the fundamental duties that we should protect the water. We should conserve the water. We should conserve all our natural heritages. We should conserve all our natural resources. It is a prime duty. Indian Constitution Article 51A says that it is the fundamental duties of the citizen that we should always protect our environment and protect the forest, protect all the natural resources. So, my dear students, it is up to us, we educated peoples, must to make sure that we always live in peace and harmony with this environment without causing any imbalance to the environment. Thank you, students. With this, we have completed the chapter 2, geography.